Here's a question for you. Would a sane person sign up for a 1,500-mile drive with only 4 hotel reservations and no interstate travel? They would know where they start each day and they would know where they finish each day, but they would have no idea until the moment they leave where they were going to go and what they were going to do. They would get clues to try to decipher to figure out the places they're supposed to be, and they would get additional tasks that could be performed if they wanted to be competitive. This is an automotive scavenger hunt, and you're invited to come along on the 2025 Alt Banq Longhorn Rally. It took place in the great state of Texas. With that out of the way, let's get right at it. Our teams traveled from all across the continent. There were a few who called Texas home, but the majority of the group hailed from elsewhere, USA and Canada. Our starting line was in Denton, Texas. This is a smaller city just northwest of Fort Worth, and it provided a nice, welcoming atmosphere for the group. Sunday night, we hold a driver's meeting to answer questions for new teams, to review starting line specifics and the rules of the event. However, this time, weather played a big role in our event. The National Weather Service issued a warning for a severe weather outbreak for the Denton area that evening. This included a few tornadoes, wind gusts of 80 to 100 miles per hour, and the potential for hail of up to 5 inches in diameter. The majority of the group sought refuge in a nearby parking garage, but a few decided to roll the dice with their vehicles. The meeting went well, and the storm did come. It brought tornado sirens, a pounding rain, a lightning show, and 50-mile-per-hour winds, but thankfully no cannonball-sized hail. The following morning, we line up our 50-plus teams on the downtown Denton Square, and they were handed their route cards for the day. Our field is gridded by donation amount, meaning the more money you raise for the charity, the sooner you get to leave. Team Bronco earned that honor in 2025, and he was able to proudly hold the top fundraiser belt. Once our teams have their route cards, the scavenger hunt begins. The first stop was at a local iron truss bridge that, according to locals, is haunted, but only if you knock 3 times on its center truss. Teams needed to do just that in order to clear that checkpoint. Next, teams made their way to the stockyards in Fort Worth, Texas. Between 1866 and 1887, over 4 million cattle passed through here, and it became the major shipping point for domestic beef in the United States. We had various tasks that could be accomplished here to gain extra points in the scavenger hunt. Some of those included riding a mechanical bull for more than 8 seconds, taking a photo with longhorns, being seated on one earned extra bonus points, and finding a light bulb that had been continuously lit for 116 years. Checkpoint 3 brought teams to the Chisholm Trail and the Big Bear Native American Museum. This location offered a look at life along the Chisholm Trail. This was the main trail for cattle headed to the stockyards in Fort Worth, as well as a chance to witness multiple artifacts collected from Native American history, some dating back to 13,000 years ago. If you were lucky, you could meet a living relative to the local tribe. Checkpoint 4 was to be Dinosaur Valley State Park, where multiple footprints of dinosaurs are visible in the riverbeds. That is, as long as it didn't storm the night prior and dump a ton of rain into the park, making the rivers muddy. Teams had to settle for viewing the castings of footprints and move along. The town of West Texas has its roots in Czech heritage going all the way back to the early 1800s. Today, over 75% of the people that live there claim to have Czech family heritage. At the Czech stop, our teams were tasked with sampling some of their baked goods in the forms of a kolachki and a kielbasnik. Some loved them, others not so much.
Come on, I can't finish this stuff. You guys gotta help out.
Let me go try my last one. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll finish this one.
The final checkpoint was the Mammoth National Monument outside of Waco, Texas. And if you're guessing they have woolly mammoth fossils there, you would be correct, as there are several, as well as the remains of a western camel, a giant tortoise, and the tooth of a saber-toothed cat. Other tasks that teams could have chosen to gain points included a video of their team drinking an entire bottle from the Dublin Bottle Works, and any flavor would do, finding a best-made pickle product and finishing that on video, or eating a meal from a chuck wagon. Now that last one I can personally say was delicious. From there, the finish line would be our prospective hotels for the evening. Their teams shared stories of the day's travels over their favorite beverages, and a few found local restaurants to dine in. Our Day 2 starting line would need to be reached on foot. The cars were lined up outside of McLean Stadium, home of the Baylor Bears, and our starting line would be on the stadium's 50-yard line. Teams were given their route cards and given the opportunity for a Le Mans-style start if they chose to run. Most didn't, but instead chose to check out the field surface and take in the feeling of being on the field of a big-time college football program. Checkpoint 1 was the first bridge to span the Bezos River. Teams needed to take a picture of themselves on both sides of this pedestrian walking bridge. Checkpoint 2 was a required stop. Required, or the females on the rally would have been really upset. This was the Silos, or the Magnolia Market. This is owned by Chip and Joanna Gaines, who are stars of Fixer Upper, which airs on HGTV. It's a nice little shopping complex just outside the center of Waco and features several small shops and a bakery. Teams spent roughly an hour or so walking through all the shops until the weather of Texas decided to enter the rally yet again. An announcement over the PA system told everyone that a severe weather event was headed to the area. Local weather reports stated this wasn't as bad as the evening prior, and hail sizes would only range from a dime to a nickel size. That's enough for quite a few of our group to again seek shelter for their vehicles in a parking garage that just happened to be beside the Magnolia Market. This storm was another wicked one, but it passed quickly. The third checkpoint on the route was the Dr. Pepper Museum. Teams were tasked with touring for at least 5 minutes and drinking a 12-ounce Dr. Pepper that was provided at the end of the tour. Checkpoint 4 was something you only find in the South and is native to Texas. That would be pecans, and the home of pecans.com. Checkpoint 4 was the Regency Bridge. This was built in 1939 at a cost of $30,000. This 403-foot long suspension bridge features wooden planking, one-way traffic, no guardrails, and sits 80 feet above the water. The weight limit is 8,000 pounds. The rain had caused the gravel road to become muddy. However, if one approached it from the south, the path was an easy 0.8 of a mile. If one approached it from the north, it was a muddy, puddle-filled 4 miles. I personally took the southern approach, and as a route planner, I took a lot of grief from those who went the northern route. Still, it was a neat bridge to cross. Checkpoint 6 was a marker in the middle of nowhere that represented the geographical center of Texas. Checkpoint 7 was the remnants of Fort Presidio de San Saba. It was founded by the Spanish Army in 1757 and abandoned in 1772. Surprisingly, much of the stone structures remain intact today. The final checkpoint of the day consisted of 3 locations, all within a stone's throw of each other in Fort Stockton, our finish line city for the evening. These were the city's mascot, Pete, the historical Fort Stockton drive-under sign, and the old train station, which now serves as the city's visitor center. That evening, Texas treated us to a dust storm that blew through our hotel parking lot at roughly 7 p.m. Apparently, that's somewhat of a regular occurrence in Fort Stockton, as there was no siren. It was over quickly, so the parking lot party for that evening was only interrupted briefly. Other point-worthy tasks for the day were pictures of Texas state flags, pictures of cattle guards, pictures of pecan trees, and pictures of pre-70 trucks from Chevy, Ford, Dodge, and other makes or models. Day 3 began where Day 2 ended at the Fort Stockton Visitor Center. Somehow our grid crew of Jeff and Gail were able to squeeze all of our team's vehicles into a rather small parking lot. After a thank you for visiting from a few elected officials, we were once again on our way. Our first stop for the day was the Annie Riggs Museum. Annie was a resident of Fort Stockton from 1858 until her death in 1931. She was married twice and owned a boarding house at this location. The museum itself houses multiple historic artifacts dating back to the founding of Fort Stockton and provided an interesting historical start for the day. Checkpoint 2 was a drive-by location that teams needed to only snap a photo of while driving by. It was a border checkpoint that is 80 miles north of the U.S.-Mexican border, as there isn't actually a checkpoint at the border itself. Checkpoint 3 would be the Big Bend National Park entrance sign. There was no one working at the entrance booth, so teams got into the park free of charge. Checkpoint 4 was the Fossil Discovery exhibit within the park. Multiple fossils spanning approximately 130 million years have been discovered in Big Bend National Park, and this area shed light on a few of those discoveries. Checkpoint 5 was Window View Overlook. The road to Window View was a steep, twisty drive with plenty of switchbacks. Once there, the view was way more stunning than the pictures, and it was only 3/10 of a mile walk from the parking lot itself. Checkpoint 6 consisted of 3 overlooks along the Rosa Maxwell Scenic Drive. The third overlook was blocked by 8 inches of water on the roadway due to recent rains. Some of us turned back, while others decided a few inches of water wasn't going to stop them. Checkpoint 7 was an appointment with the mayor of Lahitas, Clay Henry. He is a goat. The sign said that Clay had recently retired, while others in town state that he had actually expired. Our lodging for the evening was the Lahitas Golf Resort, and it was easily the nicest place we stayed during the event. It was modeled after an old western town, had a restaurant, a bar, pizzeria, a theater, and a really nice pool from what I'm told. A few of us went out to stargaze at the darkest place in North America. However, a full moon decided to wash out that activity for the evening. The following morning, we had a late start, and teams rolled out of the hotel's parking lot in a relaxed procession for the final day of the event. We started off driving the 49-mile section of Route 170 along the U.S.-Mexico border to Presidio, Texas. This is one of the most scenic drives in all the United States. Our first 4 checkpoints were along this route. They included a ghost town that was used in multiple movies, a stunning overview that was the setting for Kevin Costner's first starring role in the 1985 movie Fandango, a narrow canyon on the border called Closed Canyon, and finally Fort Leaton, a historical site dated back to 1848 and served as a trading post. Our next stop was 80 miles up the road to the historical site of Fort Davis. From 1854 to 1891, Fort Davis was strategically located to protect immigrants and to control activities on the southern stem of the Great Comanche War Trail. Teams would find their next checkpoint not far from Fort Davis. The McDonald Observatory sits at 6,600 feet above sea level and is currently home to 5 research telescopes. The road to and from this location was also a twisty bit of fun for those that enjoy that type of driving. Finally, teams needed to make their way to Odessa, Texas, which would serve as the finish line for our event. There they would need to locate a slightly shorter than original, but exact in horizontal size and astronomical accurate version of Stonehenge. From there, teams needed to only make it to the Holiday Inn Express Convention Center, which served as our group's finish line. Other tasks teams could perform to gain points during the scavenger hunt portion of the day included eating legitimate Mexican food, and there was a lot of it. Teams could consume 4 enchiladas, 4 horchatas, 4 tacos, 4 burritos, and 2 plates of anything on video to its completion. Additional tasks included getting a picture of a team member standing in the Rio Grande, placing their team in a sand dune in a state park, and a video of their team singing Deep in the Heart of Texas with a local resident. That evening, awards were handed out to those that placed first, second, and third on each of the event's 4 days, to those who had traveled the longest distance to the starting line from home, to the team that experienced the most hard luck along the event, to the best costume team, to the best dressed car, and finally to the team that through their actions had deserved the title of Spirit of the Rally. This year's recipient was Elsie, Trevor, and Anna Lynn, and it's the first time the award has been shared by an animal. Overall, this was another successful event for Rally North America. Our teams raised $147,400 in direct donations for Race to Erase MS. This is a charity that is funding research that is dedicated to the treatment and ultimate cure of multiple sclerosis. We got to see another part of the continent that a majority of us had never experienced before, and we learned some of the history that formed this place and met many of the people that live there. Most importantly, we got to hang out for a week on the road with many old friends and certainly made some new ones. Now, if you enjoyed this and you'd like to be part of one of these events, we already have plans for 2026. We're going to be going to the Ohio Valley. We expect to take 80 teams. You can find out more about our events at rallynorthamerica.com. Now, if you can't wait till next year, we have an event called a Drives event, and that's a little more laid back. We give you all the addresses. We travel as a group. We cover your hotels. We cover your breakfast. We cover your dinner. We cover your entry fees at all attractions, and we include track time. The event in September this year is going to go all the way around the state of Michigan, right along the Great Lakes, And it concludes at Gingerman Raceway. We're going to have both pace laps there and hot laps, so you should be able to wring your car out if you want to. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I'm going to leave a link to a playlist over here somewhere. That covers all my road trips over the last few years. If you want to see more Rally North America events, you can check out Tubi or Roku. We have 5 seasons of shows there. Just type in Rally North America into your search engine. I'm sure one of those will come up. And I've got a 6th season getting ready to drop in the next month or two. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Till next time, we'll see you.